Okay. Alright, so I'm doing my persuasive speech on addiction. Is addiction something that you do time and time again, maybe to relieve stress or to cope with something you have bottled up inside? Is addiction the act of doing something once and having that feeling of doing it over and over again? Maybe it makes you feel normal or you're just trying to fit in. Here's a few statistics to get you thinking from www.healthguide.org. From Harvard, articles Addiction Hijacks the Brain. Nearly 23 million Americans, almost 1 in 10, are addicted to alcohol or other drugs. More than 2/3 of people with addiction abuse alcohol. And the top 3 drugs causing addiction are marijuana, narcotics, and cocaine. Let's start with what addiction is. Addiction is a physical and also a psychological dependence with either a substance or a particular activity. It is also considered a very complex disease. It cannot be narrowed down to one single cause or one reason why. Addiction is influenced by quite a few things. It can be genes, environment, possibly the age of your first use. Addiction is also a developmental disease. It usually starts in adolescence when the brain's undergoing changes. Part of the brain right behind the forehead that works with your judgment and decision making is the last part of the brain to develop. This helps explain as to why teens are prone to risk taking and why they're more vulnerable to drug abuse. Addiction is not necessarily just to drugs or alcohol. It can also be to food, gambling, work, activities such as running or skiing. Addiction can carry quite a few health factors, such as cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer, HIV or AIDS, hepatitis C, lung disease, obesity, and quite a few mental disorders. Addiction can alter your train of thought. It can ruin your family, your friends, relationships, can change your mind process as to what might make you think, or what, yeah, I'm sorry. It can change your mind process as to what might be right or wrong. A lot of people face financial difficulty. People will pay whatever it takes to make their fix. Nothing seems to matter to them more than their true addiction. Addiction was once blamed on lack of willpower, but in all reality, your brain chemistry becomes dependent. Depression is often a symptom of addiction. This may be treated with antidepressants, counseling, or even hospital care. Let's focus on peer pressure, what it is, and how to handle it when you're in a situation. Now, as they say, addiction begins at an early age, so I think we should start supporting the younger generation and start helping them make the right decisions. Have you ever done something you didn't want to do just to fit in? That's peer pressure. Your peers influence your decisions and behaviors every day, and they push you to make bad choices. Can you believe that about 3,000 young people start smoking every day? The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a U.S. government agency, says roughly 1,000 of them will become addicted to nicotine before one of tobacco's approximately 4,000 chemicals. Before turning the age of 18, 70% of teen smokers regret starting, yet many will remain addicted until they become ill with a tobacco-related disease. This comes from Avoiding the Lure of Tobacco, Alcohol, and Marijuana from the Current Health 2 edition, February 2000 edition. Peer pressure is the fact of life. So what it comes down to is be who you are, not who others want you to be. Peer pressure is powerful, but the ability to choose is yours. If you're in a situation that maybe doesn't feel right, most likely it isn't right. You have to think about what is best for you. Be prepared to handle situations like this when you come across them. You want to make pacts with your true friends to help each other avoid those tough times. Also, talk with your parents. Use them as an excuse. For instance, if you get invited to a party after school and you think there's going to be drugs or alcohol there, tell your friends, hey, I can't make it. My parents want me home right after school. They're coming to pick me up. Standing up for yourself and saying no isn't easy, but it only takes one person to speak up to change the situation. Here's a few tips for steering clear of pressure-filled situations. 1. You want to find real friends who accept the real you. 2. Blame your parents. That's what they're there for. And 3. Stick up for yourself. People respect you for it. Let's say you already put yourself in a bad situation. Life is spiraling out of control and you feel the need and want all the time for that one thing that makes you happy. How do you get it under control? The biggest step to recovery is deciding to make a change. You want to make sure you take one day at a time and set goals. You don't want to set overly reached goals. You want to set goals that you'll be able to focus on day to day. Forms of treatment could be massage. Believe it or not, touch is a gesture of support and may boost your self-esteem. For instance, in unpublished studies at the Touch Research Institute, Miami in 1996, smokers were taught to massage their ears and hands when they craved a cigarette. They smoked 40% fewer cigarettes after 1 month. This comes from the Encyclopedia of National Healing, article Addictions in the 2004 edition. Other forms of treatment can be acupuncture. It's probably the most widely accepted complementary treatment for addiction. Practitioners say that it relieves stress, depression, and cravings. Another one could be yoga. It's said that the discipline of yoga helps to maintain feelings of control and self-esteem. This can also make withdrawal symptoms a lot easier. And then you have nutritional therapy. It's common in addicts to have vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So you want to make sure that you have a well-balanced diet so that the chemicals in your brain are functioning properly to regulate your moods and your behavior. Last but not least, you have psychotherapy or counseling. This usually goes along with other treatment plans. You need to figure out what's causing the addiction. Is it stress, something from your past, maybe bottled up emotions? There's plenty of help out there. You have to start by seeking it and asking your loved ones for help. So we know that an addiction is the act of repeating something over and over again because it makes things feel better or maybe it makes you feel normal. But avoiding peer pressure and the attractive allure of the addiction can help in the recovery process, which can be obtained by the support of loved ones and those who can empathize with you. Also by avoiding the people, places, and things that support your addiction of choice. Although it can be hard to avoid an addiction, it is best to remember that addiction can cause you grief, can take away your friends, family, employment, and in the end, you can lose yourself. You can do it though. All is possible with strength and dedication.